All right, guys, Shotty T here with an Alliance War video. This is war number 8 of the season. We're looking to bounce back from the tough war we had last war, and we still got our work sort of cut out for us. We got some challenging defenders across the board. Not as daunting as the last war, but still not easy. But this guy, yeah, I'm looking at you. Yeah, I see you. I got something for you this time. Let's hope you guys can learn some lessons on this particular war video. It's going to be a lot of interesting teaching points in this particular war. But got a full plate on our schedule. We got a lot of fights scheduled here. Looks like I highlighted 12 fights, and it might be 13 depending on how the boss fight goes. But yeah, I got another Corey there. Yeah, see you. See, we got Apocalypse over there. This Magneto won't be easy for whoever has that, because you can't stun. Oh, it's a 12-second cooldown, but when you do stun, you got one eye open, so you can't damage him. So you got to bait heavy, but if you bait heavy, he's unstoppable. So, I mean, there's ways to get around that, but it's very few counters to that node. And there are some tactics that you can use that I was able to find out in one of our BGs, because there was a Magneto on the stun reflect as well. Not the stun reflect, but the hazard shift. But anyway, we're gonna bring Claire, and we're gonna bring Red Magneto, and we are going to bring our secret weapon for this war, White Magneto. So we got Claire and the 2 chick magnets. So it's probably gonna be part of the title of this video. But it's very appropriate there. Got her 2 bodyguards. So first fight here, pretty standard. We got a Mordo, ebb and flow knockdown. Nothing much to this fight. There's one level of drama in this fight, but it wouldn't have killed me if it happened. But for those that still struggle with Mordo, the elementary tactic is to just block until he throws a heavy, and then you can just counter attack that way. And then when he's in his power gain phase, that's when he becomes very defensive. He really just holds blocks, so you're free to basically heavy attack him probably like 95% of the time. And then when he doesn't have that power gain buff, he becomes more offensive. So it's kind of like he's like his own oscillator node. So right now he's not throwing his SB2, so now he has his power gain. So now he's at 3 bars of power, but now I went to the elementary phase of fighting Mordo and just hold block and just bait heavy. And I was able to transition Claire to her power gain, her power steal phase, to steal him away from that 3 bars of power. So Claire, the utility person that she is, was able to take that drama out the fight. If I would have ate an SB3, it probably would have took, 20% of my health. So, and I would have healed it back the next fight, so it really didn't matter. But next fight here, speaking of which, we got Hyperion. He is a large defender, so he is subject to be trigger protect. So that's really the only thing that gets dramatic about this particular fight, because I do trigger protect a couple of times. You're about to see it right here. That hit there from the SB2 was more than 300% of my attack, and apparently one of those hits was also more than 300% of my attack, because I had that Fury passive. So that Fury passive triggered protect. So I was able to get an intercept there. So now those protect stats are gone. But like, again, I got that Fury passive, so I'm more likely to potentially trigger protect on any single hit. But we don't that time. And we still power, knock him down again. So we're just rinsing and repeating. And now we switch to the incinerate mode. And then I switch back to the lifesteal mode just for the heck of it. Finish them off. Alright, this next fight here, we got a Nova. He is a metal champ. But before I do that, forgot to highlight the suicide rosters. Now, I ended up getting faked out with one of them. And because you see there, that PI for that thing is pretty high. So I thought, and plus the profile, you see there's a 17K Dr. Doom. And you saw the other profile also had a 17K Dr. Doom. Normally, Doom's PI on the non-suicide roster is like around 15 to 15 and a half, depending on what other masteries they have. So because he had 17, I figured he had suicides. But it looks like it did the old switcheroo where they place without suicides and then put suicides back on. I mean, it does cost units to do that every war, but I guess if it's worth faking out the opponent, it may get an extra death or two. I guess that's worth it. But still, I wouldn't do it. You're either gonna run suicides or you're not. But anyway, we got a Nova here, and this is basically a note where you cannot interrupt the heavy attack. And even though I have ability accuracy reduction against metal, he still triggered the unstoppable, so I guess it's not affected by ability accuracy reduction. I was hoping that aspect would make the fight a little easier, but it did add that small challenging element into the fight, having to deal with that. And now we're up against it a little bit, but luckily I was able to get him to throw an SP2 right there after knocking him down. Just so you guys know, the opponent is more likely to throw a special after you knock them down, or if you're just standing there idle. But we were able to get that done, and we're finished with that fight. Alright, so next fight here, don't blink because this fight's gonna go by pretty quickly. But we got a Nihilus, it's power snag, backup recovery. And we got some, once again, because we got some challenging fights ahead, so we'll go ahead and apply these 6-hour boosts. Now, I don't expect to do this every single war, because obviously I'll run out pretty quickly. Because I do have plenty of those 15%, 10% boosts. And you get them pretty easily with the solo events. So you'll probably see me use more of those, but it's just more so just to go through a whole bunch of fights at once. But otherwise, I'll just use my energy, conserve my energy to go through a lot of opponents if it doesn't work out. So against Nihilus, just like Killmonger, you can dash back, like counter. So it's pretty standard. Then you can regular parry. So I go straight to my SP2 with the power steal. Backup recovery is active, but doesn't matter. So we parry, and we go back to another SP2, and he's dead. Just your typical 33-second fight there. All right. So here we go. So now, this is the other roster I thought that had suicides, but when I got into this fight, you see it didn't. Got a SIG 200 core, 69.99% shrug ratio. Bring it, because I'm going to bring my White Magneto pre-fight. And I don't know why I did not think about this before, because I used this on the Brute Force, because it affects Limber, where the opponent shrugging your parry percent, the parry percent goes down 20% each time. But White Magneto pre-fight with Hero and with metal attackers, essentially you get a passive stun. So Core can't shrug a passive stun, because obviously I fought him plenty of times in wars with Storm Pyramid X, who also has a passive stun anytime an opponent tries to shrug off a debuff or a parry. So it's the same effect essentially with this White Magneto pre-fight. So guess what? We don't have to worry about your stinking shrugs. And I'm just, it's a very sadistic. I'm enjoying every moment of this beatdown from those last two wars. I don't have to worry about any of those shrugs. Only thing you just have to focus on is the Mix Master and just evading his SP1, which I'm pretty good at doing. So this fight becomes very easy, and this opens up the door really where a lot of other defenders, attackers can go at this node. Other people in my alliance, because usually I take this node pretty much every war. But with that white Magneto pre-fight, it opens the door for a lot of other people to take on court just by parry, medium, light, medium, all fight. Keep the fight simple, really. And just Dex his SP1. So metal attackers and hero attackers that are core counters naturally because of thorn damage include Claire, Sorcerer Supreme, Omega Red, Doom, Human Torch, Havoc. There are some others out there too. Of course, you got your Guardian. Basically, any energy-based damage or non-contact champs that
You
are heroes.
lose! Good day, sir!
Yeah, that's my thoughts too. You lose, sir. Yeah, so any hero or metal attackers that are core counters can handle this node with the white Magneto pre-fight. So all it takes is just one alliance member out of 10 just to bring him on the team. And he can also help on your individual path if needed. But it can make a lot of individual fights and paths easier if you can use white Magneto for your pre-fight, and if you got like one attacker that can handle almost every fight in your path, like a Claire can, or in some cases Corvus or Ghost, and go for it. So here we have Mr. Potato Head, MODOK, and it's another metal fight that goes kind of shaky, kind of like that Havoc fight. And really, it's kind of like when you beat a good team, a really, really good team, and then you have the next game, it's kind of like a letdown game. So this is kind of like a letdown fight. Like, I was so happy just to finally rub it in that Corrid's face and have that problem solved moving forward. That I kind of not focus on this fight. And the thing that kind of hurt me this fight, I don't die, by the way, so I know it sounds like I'm dying the way I'm talking, but what made this fight very difficult than it should have been is that one, I didn't hit into his block enough to keep him on his side of the board. But the second thing is that ability actually reduction is actually hurting me, because metal champs, for Magneto, you have an increased chance of a perfect block, and I was able to perfectly dex that heavy attack. I can't even do that with Quake, so that was just basically like a desperation, and it might have saved my fight this war. But the ability actually reduction is basically of having more perfect blocks, so the opponent is actually gaining a good level of power gain from kinetic transfer. So, like I said, this is not a position I want to be in, fighting against him in the corner. But unfortunately, it's a position I put myself in. But the fight is almost over, but he does have 2 layers of protection. So that's for that reason I don't finish the full combo on SP1 there, because I'm afraid it doesn't kill him. I'd rather play on the safe side. It'd be pretty embarrassing to die with 1% health after the opponent throws the SP3 and kills you. But there we go. So like I said, we don't lose the fight, but got very dicey there. So the next fight here, we have Cosmic Ghost Rider. My original thought was to bring Claire here, but I didn't realize that Cosmic Ghost Rider is a metal champ. So I said, just make the fight easier. Let's just use Magneto. I'm gonna use Magneto here. And what's gonna happen in this fight is gonna be very crazy. And it's going to be something that I learned about this fight, about Cosmic Ghost Rider. Didn't realize because I only have him as a 3-star. Still hunting for him as in that 5-star feature, or well, I guess he's not in the feature anymore. So I missed out on him. But apparently when he fights against villains, he automatically places a armor break debuff on him. So for me, that's helpful because I can just use that as willpower to heal for the entirety of the fight. So I purposely could have made this fight longer if I wanted to, just to heal myself at 100% health before launching my SP3. So obviously, I'm more comfortable dexing his SP2 from my fights against him. Of course, the last part of it is kind of dicey because he kind of stalls before he throws that beam. So I just purposely blocked the first one, then blocked the second part, and dex the second part. His SP1, you can dex it more cleanly, but sometimes he goes unblockable with it, so that's why I just rather not even bait it. But check this out here, 65% health with protection, and he just get crushed like a can.
Damn!
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I said, goodness gracious. That was crazy. So that Annihilus fight and this Cosmic Ghost Rider fight were the main fights of the war. But it's still something to learn. I mean, there was, even though those were the shorter fights, there were teachable things in both of those fights. So this fight here, we have Void. So we're just going to use Claire. We're going to keep it simple. We're going to go straight to her Incinerate Curse mode. So that way, anytime I try to apply an Incinerate on Void, it's going to gain me power because he's Incinerate immune. And another thing that you saw there is that Void has such a delay in its SP1 that you can actually dash forward after the first melee attack, and then you'll give yourself time to dex the second part of it, and then immediately punish him. So that way you're more guaranteed to punish him after SP1, because otherwise if you play it safe and dex far back, which is nothing wrong with doing that, is you have to be more precise. But the only reason why it's significant to be able to have that ability to punish the SP1 right away, if you ever get caught up in a situation where you have to get the 10 hits to get rid of the debuff, you can get rid of it sooner instead of waiting out this long elated SP1 that you can't even punish, and then let those debuffs kick in even more. So that time I wasn't prepared to dash in right away. So again, you have to do it right away, and he does give you the opening to do so. But here you go, and dex back, and we immediately counter. So this time we're just gonna wait. Okay, we got that 10th hit there to get rid of that debuff before it even popped up, and that's the guaranteed way to not take any damage from debuffs, because it gives you like a small 1-second timer before that debuff applies. But if you do get that 10th hit, just like I did there once again, you don't take any damage and the debuff goes away. And just like that, Void goes away. He's null and void. He's done. Alright, so next fight, I had a plan. Everybody has a plan until they get hit, right? So the idea here, I knew the Apocalypse was a metal attacker. So the idea was just do like I did in that Cosmic Ghost Rider fight. Just spam heavy until I get the SP3 with all the prowess and crush him to death. But one little thing I forgot about, and silly me, all these times that we fight against Apocalypse and AQ, but I really actually don't even bring a mutant to my attack team in AQ. Usually I bring Corvus, Doom, maybe like Guardian, or every once in a while I'll bring Aegon. But whenever Apocalypse fights against a mutant, he automatically has 4 charges. So that means that I can't parry him. I can't parry his basic attacks when he's on. I can't parry him when he's on the offense. I can still stun him if I have an opponent that has stun in their abilities. But the reliable method I was going to use to knock him down, well, not to knock him down, but to gain charges, it just got foiled. But I still could have taken him down, because you see that SB2 took a lot of damage, but the special attacks did me in. I just got, like, I panicked when that strategy that I was gonna plan on doing, and I didn't have a plan B, so I was just on the fly there. If I was more composed after the beginning of that fight, I would have still been able to finish it. But unfortunately, got hit by both of his specials, and that took away a good chunk of my health. So, as a result, we're going in with Claire. Now, keep in mind, those 4 charges also means if he hits into your block with a light attack, you become stunned. So, obviously, I'm just going to treat this like a stun immune fight, almost like I'm fighting the Apocalypse boss, but he has a much lower health pool. And he doesn't have those rotating physical and energy resistance. So because of that disaster last fight, we're not even going to try to dex this special. Because I know I can heal Claire the next fight. So the whole idea is just to make sure she finishes this fight with more health than he does. So we're just going to keep siphoning power. I probably should have just did the SB2 with the incinerate mode to take him down sooner, but I guess I was just more wanting to use the power steel mode for some reason, but it's okay. I didn't want to bait as many specials, but again, the incinerate mode, I probably would have had the fight done sooner to make that moot. But we're outpacing his health against mine, so as long as I kill him, that's all I care about. Now this node does have crumbling armor, so at one point I do decide to try to cheese heal as much as I can, because time is not an issue at this point. But I trigger protect there. Now he has 2 stats to protect. So now he's going to become more tanky at the very end, as you see that 5-hit combo. And actually he's healing off of my poisons, so it's not a good idea to keep putting those poisons on him. I put it on him anyway, because the poisons are dealing 4 ticks, but he's gaining 97 health, so he's like net gaining 93 health. So we're just kind of dancing around, healing off the willpower, and luckily I had good enough spacing for one of my dance rounds where it baited a heavy attack. But as you can see, I'm not doing hardly any damage to him, and now he has double willpower for my SB2 and the poison. So it's like fighting a brick wall at this point, but still not panic. I can always intercept him at any point to get rid of both of those protection stacks. So, and plus, yeah, he's dead. So next fight. So now we're on to the mini bosses. This video is probably the longest video for the season. Like I said, it's a lot of fights, a lot of lengthier fights. And this is no exception to the one that's about to come up. So we healed to about 70% because we're gonna go into poison mode. So that way, when those acid things expire on me, I can just heal from the armor break, and then I'll be poison immune and not be poisoned. Because if I start in any other mode, then I'm subject to be poisoned that poison can be pretty potent on this node because it scales based off his rating. So we're just gonna methodically fight him here. Use the buff immunity to keep his regeneration from triggering in this last 50% of his health. If it does trigger, then we just work around that by not parrying him and just hitting to the block bait heavy, or just intercept altogether, or punish his special attack. So that's what we're doing here. It's pretty sound strategy thus far. And this opponent does have a very high level of Mystic Dispersion, so I have to make sure that when my buffs expire, that he's not close to 3 bars of power. Because he has at least 3 Mystic Dispersion, because he has a pretty good chunk of power gain anytime one of my debuffs expire, and that includes those little acid puffs. So anytime those expire, he gains power too. And because those can stack multiples, I have to be very careful, not even flirt with 3 bars of power because of that Mystic Dispersion. And because of that, he gained another chunk of power that gave him a chance to throw another SP1 and put more of those spores on me. But now they fell off, but you see it pushed him over 2 bars of power, which is not a bad thing there. But now he's below 50% health. So now I have to make sure not to block. But buff immunity, of course, is going to prevent the regeneration from popping up and gain me some power at the same time. Now I probably could have got this fight over a little bit quicker if I took advantage of a period where I didn't have any of those spores and just throw it SP2 with the incinerate mode. But then I would have to cycle through 2 5-hit combos to get back to the poison phase, and who knows if I could inflict myself with a poison debuff by then. So we just kept it simple. Also could have thrown an SP3, but it would have reset my mystic charges. So I'm in a good comfortable spot here. I can just keep slowly, methodically gaining those charges just to get myself to 2 bars of power sooner. And unfortunately, I throw my SP2 a little too late there, and he punishes me. But we're still above where we started health-wise in this fight because of the willpower from the armor break. Alright, so we're just gonna hit into the block, see if we can bait a heavy. There we go. And we throw another SP2. And now we're at 93% health. Go ahead and parry that there for that measure. Because we got a lot of willpower now with 2 armor breaks. So we should be closing in on 100% health pretty soon. Now we are at 100% health. Probably could have killed him with an SP1 right there. But against Man-Thing, your specials do not crit, so good chance he probably would have survived it. Next fight here, we got a Thing. We got a thing going on. All right, anyway. So we're going to bring Claire once again. Claire's the MVP of this war by far. Saves potions. Saves you room on your roster to throw a synergy partner. So it's fun times. Alright, so I've gotten used to fighting Thing. I've fought him 3 straight times now. This is my 3rd consecutive time fighting against him with a Claire. Normally it's Human Torch, which is obviously not a bad option. because you can easily apply Incinerate and you can freely stun them. But I'm so used to fighting fights where you don't stun that this stun reflect doesn't really bother me. So the idea here is to use my bleeds as necessary to control his rock stats when I need to. Because I'm guaranteed to apply bleed on my second medium while I'm in this phase. And what that also does is gain me a little bit of power as well. All right. So slowly but surely we're building that power up. So now he has 12 stacks. Guess what? We're gonna use our second medium to control it. Now he's back over a bar of power. Never had to hit into his block at 15. I always got him exactly to 15, either hitting in the block or through combo. So we do it once again. So it's kind of dicey if we're gonna get to 2 bars of power this natural way. But it's getting closer and closer to that possibility. Alright, so once again, we bleed him. Go ahead and bait the heavy, get 2 hits in there, put him at 15. And there we go. And that 20 charges got me exactly to 2 bars of power. So now we can throw an SB2. Probably could have just waited until I got to a bigger part of my combo to throw it. So now the time is not quite an issue, but we're just wanting to end this fight. So we go ahead and switch stances after he throws this SP1. I'm gonna switch to the poison. And then we're gonna apply the poison. And then we can now freely stun him. But unfortunately we can't control the rock stats as easily as the other modes, so we have to make sure to hit into his block more to push him over if necessary. But as you can see there, I was able to finish him off. So next fight here, we're gonna face a Tigra. Now this fight becomes more difficult than I anticipated. We're gonna apply White Magneto pre-fight so that way I can parry indefinitely. So Tigra is kind of like the Nihilus. I mean, she is like a Nihilus, like Domino, like several other champs, Venom, Killmonger, where their medium attack comes at you so you can actually punish it easily. Hers is very easy to punish, just dash back, light counter, and I got hit by the special there. I'm used to her SP1. That one I just got clipped. So the idea is to try to bait as nothing but SP1s. Doesn't always work out that way. And SP2 pretty much takes almost the whole screen. And sometimes it's hard to tell when it's over. I'm not really stunning her that much, but it's just there to have in case I need it. So now we're trying to bait the special, but she's not playing ball, so we have to get rid of brute force. Now she throws a special. There we go. Alright, now we parry. Now we're in danger zone. Didn't want to push her 2 bars of power, especially when we're in the middle of the board or closer to my side. Yeah, so that's what you gotta look for. That very last pounce where she like double grabs, that's the end of the SB2. And that's the end of Tigra. Alright, so I thought this would be the last fight of the war. Now this war is still close. So I go ahead and go in and apply the pre-fight. So for whoever's taking the boss, so they'll have that 15% attack from the jump. So looking at the standings here, we're up by 6 in RBG, and in the Alliance we're up by 14. So I'm just trying to see what the true attack bonus edge is. So I'm looking at how many opponents we have left, or really how many attack bonus we have left. So we have 14 attack bonus left, so that means the max we can get is 155, and the opponent has 11. We've died 11 times, so one of those don't count because it's supposed to add to 165. So it's 10 true edge. So that puts the defender kill technically to 32 for attack bonus purposes. So now we get a chance to see how many we're offset by, and it's none in RBG. And in all the BGs, we got this Immortal Abomination. Okay, so 7 kills. So 4. So 4 of our kills don't count. So it's 43 to 32. So we're up by 11. Now we have more ground to cover. They're almost finished with our bosses. So because of that, we're not going to just jump in unboosted like we did in that last war, because this war is still in the balance. So we're not gonna go super big with the boost. We're saving the 30% for the Abyss. I'm anticipating the last Abyss run should take 6 hours, so I'm gonna need all 6 of those. And we'll go ahead and apply this Mystic Power boost. Obviously it's more useful for magic, but I literally got one that was about to expire in less than 12 hours, so I wasn't gonna be able to make it to another war. So it's one of those cases where you use it or lose it. So we also apply a combat regenerating boost, and it actually gives me a little bit more cushion because I do mess up at the beginning of this fight. Not the very beginning, but its first special attack. So just like the previous fight, we're just going to control this rock stats with our bleed if necessary. And you can see I kind of just didn't backtrack. But we had the combat regeneration boost. Even if we didn't have it, we still would have survived it. And plus we got that SB2 to heal ourselves, but the rock stats aren't cooperating where we can actually get that off without him going unstoppable. So now we just have to manage the stacks. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So now he's at 11. So here we're gonna do a little cheeky there, 3, 4 hits, put him at 14. The SP3 will put him at 15. The SP3 counts as 1 hit towards the meter. Of course, my combo, it gives me multiple hits, but for his rock stats, it only puts him 1 over. So we're just managing. Very sustainable. Obviously, the only thing I was worried about is timing out. But he had 66% health to start off. And we got making some good progress pace-wise. Because I try to act as if this is a one-shot attempt. So that way I'll know for future reference if I can actually one-shot a rank 3 thing. Because this is a rank 3. Alright, so we put them back. Now we're at 15. We don't want to bait that. We just want him to throw an SP1. There we go. Alright. This is a textbook fight here. So we purposely throw the SP2 when I had 7 stacks, so that put him exactly at 15. The SP2 does 7 hits. right. A little nice intercept there. I'm not sure if he had protection active, but in case he did, he got protection off. One more combo should do it. And there we go. So yeah, 13 fights. Pretty busy. It's a 40-minute video. I'm glad you guys had a chance to learn some stuff still for each fight. Otherwise, we would have just breezed through them without any commentary. But we did win the war. It wouldn't have mattered if we won the war, despite if I would have got 13 kills and we lost, it wouldn't have mattered. But we won, and we ended up winning by 8 attack bonuses. But I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and more to come.